Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jason.
And Jason, what do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about Ninja Turtles.
You want to talk about Ninja Turtles?
Yeah!
Why are we talking about Ninja Turtles?
Because there's a Ninja Turtles movie coming out. And Ninja Turtles.
It's just topical?
It's topic.
You had it on the brain?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about Ninja Turtles a lot lately as well. I haven't been doing a lot of Turtle stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
But in 2 weeks, right after my birthday,
yeah.
I'm about to get my next tattoo, and it's going to be a Ninja Turtles tattoo.
Ooh.
I'm going to get a big black and white Ninja Turtle on my left leg. And I didn't do that to coincide with the movie. It just happens to be working out that way. But yeah, so welcome everybody. If you're watching live, if you're watching after the fact, we're doing another one of these. We're going to haphazardly talk about a topic that Jason felt like talking about, and he wants to talk about Ninja Turtles. So as I often do, I'm going to just start with, Jason, what is your Ninja Turtles background? Obviously, growing up with me, you've had it around. I've shown you stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a Turtles fan?
Yeah. I like Turtles things. Like, I'm not a diehard fan as maybe you are, but I do like Ninja Turtles.
You put quite a few other things above it?
Yeah.
So you're much bigger into Power Rangers than Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. But no, I've seen a lot of the 87 show, and a lot of the 03 show, and some of the 2012 show, and I've seen the first couple movies, and
the 2014 movie. I don't know if you remember it.
Anything about that movie.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that's for the best.
Batman vs. Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, which is great.
So yeah, you've seen a fair bit of stuff.
I've seen a fair bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read too much, though.
So do you have much, I mean, 13 now, I'm sure you're old enough to have those things from your real early childhood that you have quote-unquote nostalgia for, that you go back to partly because you're trying to recapture, real fun early memories. Do you have that at all with Ninja Turtles, or is it much more
Not really.
Power Rangers and that kind of stuff?
That's much more like Power Rangers and that kind of stuff. Ninja Turtles, I mean, I watched it, and I liked it. Like, I liked doing things, like, I liked playing the games and stuff. I don't know. When I like play the games and watch it now, like, it doesn't like spark memories or anything like that. So
I wonder sometimes how much of it with me is like a lot of kids from my generation about the toys first.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that history as much. And obviously the fact that we were so surrounded by and inundated with it. Like, it has remained popular, and it's remained popular with kids, but it's nothing like the phenomenon it was for the younger generation now as it was when it was first coming out.
Right. And I did play with a few of the toys. Like, I didn't play with it as much as I did, Power Rangers toys and DC toys and stuff, but I guess toys were a part of my childhood, Ninja Turtles wise as well.
The first action figure I remember ever getting was a Donatello.
The first figure.
That first run from Playmates.
See, the first Ninja Turtles figure I remember getting for myself was a Raphael that just someone had at Freddy's steak burgers, and they just gave me it.
I remember this.
Yeah, they just gave me the
they had it behind the counter?
Yeah, the Raphael. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go through the obligatory favorite stuff just to get the conversation kind of started.
Yeah.
So, do you have an actual favorite Ninja Turtle? I find this a much more complicated question than most people do, because there are so many different iterations, and I'm a fan of a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Can I interject this real quick?
Yeah.
it's kind of wild that, and I've made this point 100,000 times, but that Ninja Turtles is as versatile as it is, and I think as versatile as Batman. I think Ninja Turtles is one of the only other superhero properties that has the same thing Batman does, that you can do it serious or real super goofy or campy and everything in between, and it's all valid and it all has the potential to work. I don't mean every iteration is good, but that it all has the potential to work.
Yeah.
And it has continued to produce all of these different iterations and so many different creators now have had their own what's the word I'm looking for? Way of formulating it.
Yeah.
That it's really hard for me to now peg down sometimes, what my actual favorite turtle is, because they're not always the same, even though you do kind of think of each of them as having a prevailing character trait.
Yeah.
I guess vision was the word I was looking for. There are a lot of different visions for Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think my favorite 87-wise is probably Michelangelo. But then...
Is that Townsend Coleman bias?
Yeah.
Do you know that, right?
Yeah.
Michelangelo is Townsend Coleman, who voiced the Tick.
Yeah. But with the movies and the 03 show with that was the stuff that I'm kind of more grew up on. Like, I've seen a few 87 episodes, but I mean...
Oh, you said at the beginning you saw a lot of 87.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw a lot more when I was little.
I see, yeah.
But, and I've seen all of the first season. But,
That's easy, there's 5.
Right.
I did an unscripted rewind on that a
I
couple
thought
years
there
ago.
was like 7.
5.
Right? Oh, okay.
It was a
That's
5-episode miniseries.
That's not as impressive as I thought it was.
I've seen all of it! How many seasons... I'm going to turn this into a trivia show. How many seasons are there of 87? Do you know that?
7?
10.
10. Really, that went until 97?
It sure did. Isn't that wild?
I thought it went until like
93.
94.
And that gap between 97 and 03 felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, not that I was sitting around itching for another show or that I even watched it all the way to the end, it just felt like Turtles was over, and when it came back in 03, it felt like it had been a lifetime since anybody cared about Ninja Turtles, and it was only 6 years that it was off the air. But certainly by 97, I think it was kind of true that very few people really cared that much about Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I mean, enough to need to keep seeing new product with it. I mean, that was around the same time you had Next Mutation also, so like there were attempts at continuing it or bringing it back. Anyway, I'm sorry. So 87 you saw some of.
Yeah, I saw some of. And then 03 I've seen, I think the first season.
Like season and a half?
And a half, I think. And then I've seen select episodes after that.
But yeah, so overall favorite turtle.
So overall favorite turtle, Raphael. But...
And specifically mostly because of what stories or properties?
Or
like versions?
03 mostly, and then also the movies.
He's wonderful in 03.
Yeah. He's great in 03.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the definitive interpretations of that character. And I think everybody's great in 03, of course.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone's great in 03. Yeah, I don't know. And I haven't seen... What else? What other Turtle shows? Well, there's the 2012 show.
So if we have to go through it, so it's 87, it's 03, it's 2012,
Yep.
And then... You just finished, because I don't think it was popular and it got canceled prematurely. You had Rise of the TMNT,
Yeah.
which is a completely different thing.
It wasn't very good. Like, it was okay. It wasn't funny.
It was in that modern Cartoon Network style. It wasn't on Cartoon Network, but it was in that modern kind of Cartoon Network, or I guess Nickelodeon some too, style of like 10, 11 minute. Real clipped episodes that were a lot more kind of sitcom-y. It wasn't really about the Turtles fighting crime
Yeah.
so much as the in-between stuff.
Yeah.
I only saw a couple episodes of that, and
Me too.
I didn't hate it, it just wasn't my thing. I didn't care for it.
I didn't hate it either.
I didn't like. That's one of those things where I don't like the character models, but the animation is really well done. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's fluid, and it's got a style. It just doesn't happen to be a style I like. You know, like it's inoffensive. I don't hate that it exists. I don't need it.
Right.
I've heard good things about the movie. Do you know about this?
No.
So they did 2 seasons. They canceled it, and then, I mean, maybe they hadn't intended on making any more than that. I have a hard time believing that. We had never before that had a Ninja Turtle series that went fewer than, get this, 6 seasons. Every single Turtle show has done at least 6.
Yeah.
I believe.
We did the 2012 show do it.
It had 5 or 6. Yeah, I think it had 6. Okay, so never less than 5. I think it had 6. But anyway,
insane, actually.
so Rise of the TMNT gets 2 seasons, and then I guess to give it like an actual finale of some kind, they did a Netflix movie, and people that didn't like that show liked that movie. So I keep meaning to give that a shot, and I keep forgetting about it.
Okay.
It has not been high on my priority list, but
yeah,
I thought about doing a blind commentary. I don't know if anybody would care, but
yeah.
Anyway, so those are the 4 cartoon shows.
Yeah.
You can kind of assume that there's probably another one coming at some point.
Yeah.
Whether it's some sort of a, spin-off of this new thing. I could really see that spinning off shows if people like it, although it would probably be other characters that weren't the Ninja Turtles if that ends up being a film franchise. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But, sort of like Spider-Verse was supposed to,
Yeah.
and then nothing ever came of that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that actually was gonna get... I didn't realize that.
Well, it's Sony, so as soon as it had any success at all, they started immediately announcing spin-offs and side projects.
Yeah.
And none of them have happened, but that was... And now because of the strikes, the 3rd movie has been put off indefinitely. We don't even know when that's going to come out.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be early next year. I'm very sad about that.
Yeah, that's really sad. Well, Ninja Turtles exists.
So Captain Logan is back. He's been commenting the last few shows. Thanks for being here. What are your definitive voices for each of the Turtles? And I also wanted to go through and say what I feel, and you can obviously, Jason, tell me if you have opinions about this too.
Yeah.
Are the best versions of each of the 4 Turtles. Like from different iterations, because like I said, I find your favorite Ninja Turtle to be a difficult thing to answer. Like overall, generally, it's Donatello, or it used to be.
Yeah.
But after the IDW comics and some other things, I have a really hard time going, not going between having like a 3-way tie. Where it's Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael, and then naturally, because he's my least favorite Ninja Turtle overall, not that I hate Michelangelo or anything, the tattoo I'm getting is of Michelangelo, because of course it is. No, I've got a son named Mikey, and so I felt like the tattoo needed to be Michelangelo.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go ahead and answer that question. So, definitive voices for each of the Turtles.
Voices. Well, Leonardo is probably the movie.
Oh, okay.
The 90 movie. And then...
Raphael is that way for me, is the movie. Or is it 03 for you?
It's 03 for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Leonardo actually might be 03 for me as well. And then Donatello and Michelangelo are both 87 for me. But Leonardo is like this on movie in 03.
I think I appreciate the Donatello voice from 03.
Yeah.
More than any other version. Honestly, I almost want to say definitive voices for me are all 03 except for maybe the Raphael from the movie, from the 90 movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely not Donatello from Ninja Turtles 2. The surfer dude laugh makes me want to cry every time. I hate it. It's really irritating.
Yeah, it's really irritating.
Okay, so let's go through each of the Turtles and say like definitive or like favorite versions of each. Of not voices but characterizations, right?
Yeah.
My favorite Leonardo is hands down IDW Comics.
Okay. My favorite Leonardo is 03.
Is it?
Yeah.
The City War arc, the Chunin thing, is in the comics is wonderful. I think you've read some of that stuff. Didn't you read at some point up through like 2025?
I don't know. I might have. I don't remember anything about it. If so,
the problem is when 6 years passed, that's like half your life.
Right.
And for me, it was like last Tuesday.
Right. So I don't know.
So yeah, it's Leonardo. It's probably the IDW Comics. Donatello. Well, see, I could almost say everybody. It actually is the IDW Comics, because that's my favorite version at this point.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of difficult to say, because the IDW Comics made me like Michelangelo more than anything else ever has.
Okay.
But I also really like. I mean, they don't do a ton with him in the '90 movie, but I like Robbie Riss's voice for that character.
Yeah.
I guess I do get mixed up a little bit, characterization versus voice.
Michelangelo, I'd probably say 87. I think it's the same for voices as characterization. For me, honestly. Which, I mean, I really like the characterization of the turtles in the '90 movie a lot, but they've just done better versions.
Yeah, I get maybe the only turtle that I wouldn't say the definitive version now is the IDW Comics is weirdly Raphael. It's not that they don't do anything cool with him, but it's almost like there's this overcompensation that happens with Tom Waltz, where he goes, everybody loves the Leonardo Raphael thing, and we need to make sure that that's not all we give credence to.
Yeah.
And so Michelangelo really steps up, and you get a wonderful sense of differences in even life philosophies between all of the turtles. And so you have Michelangelo, who is more of a like nurturer, and he's kind of diplomatic, and he's always bringing people together. And then Leonardo is, as he's always been, the leader and something of the uncertain leader, of course. But he's got this kind of internal conflict. He's got a little bit of I don't want to say a dark side, but like he's trying not to let tradition get in the way of doing the right thing, and that can get him into trouble some. And then you have this kind of like utilitarian thing with Donatello, where in trying to make the most people happy, sometimes he'll let the ends justify the means, and that can be kind of a problem. And so there's all these wonderful differences in philosophies with those characters, and you have a really morally ambiguous Splinter. He's handled exactly like Zordon is now in the Power Rangers comics, where he's the mentor, but he can make mistakes, and he has a philosophy that is very rigid and maybe too extreme.
Yeah.
And he's forced to question his convictions all the time. So I don't know, it gets very, very involved.
Yeah.
I almost want to say the best Raphael is the 07 TMNT movie.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that. I watched the first 10 minutes, and I was like, what is this? So, I feel like I should start like 20 minutes in.
07 is very strange when you've been watching the 03 show, because it feels almost like an extension of it for a minute. Like, it's very influenced by that show, but it's not that show. And it wants to be, it's sort of like Superman Returns in that it's a reboot, but it sort of wants to be in the live action continuity, but then it's also not even live action, so that feels weird.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're back in the movie theater, you're seeing the Ninja Turtles for the first time in a lot of years, and they're older now, they're not even really teenagers anymore. Here's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And then let's throw in a couple of Easter eggs to remind you of the old movies. And so even if it isn't in that continuity, you're supposed to think about that. But you have an April who's characterized entirely differently, and she's just a straight-up ninja. Like, I don't even think she has a job in that. She's just got swords, and she's fighting, and
weird.
She's there with Casey Jones doing the same thing, and that's kind of where they're at in the 03 show at that point.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to just think, oh, this is an extension of the 03 show, but somehow by way of the movies. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And as I've said a million times, like, the bad guy plot in that is very lame and feels like just a thing that would facilitate a video game.
Yeah.
But the Turtles' characterizations are really strong, particularly Raphael and Leonardo. It's maybe the best, or real close to the best on-screen portrayal of that.
Yeah.
And it looks great. Even if the Turtles look a little bit anorexic, it looks great. I mean, they have the opposite problem that the 2014 movie does, where they're too big in that. In the 2007 movie, they're real scrawny. They look like they need to be eating more pizza. It's like they can't get their hands on pizza now.
Huh.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Let me think. Yeah. Trying to think, like, just what else I've even seen.
Well,
I've seen.
Let's answer some questions, and I'll throw some more stuff at you. Jareth Gearhart, what are your favorite Ninja Turtles video games? I would think that would be one of the bigger ins for you, probably.
Yeah. The problem is, I really like the Ninja Turtle games, but I also don't like beat 'em ups. So I need to be in a specific mood to play those.
So they're fun while you're playing them.
Right. The problem with beat 'em ups is they're just boring. Like, you walk a little bit, and then you press the same button over and over again, and then you walk a little bit, and then you press the same button over and over again. And
Well, the good ones, there's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah.
You know, there's dodging, and there's combinations, and there's...
Yeah. For me, it's
But I hear what you're saying.
Just press the same button a lot. That's why I do like the Switch game that they made for Turtles.
You mean the compilation or the new one?
No, the new one.
You think it's got more variety, or...
Yeah.
Shredder's Revenge?
Yeah, Shredder's Revenge. Didn't they make DLC for that?
I was about to say, I think they're about to put out some DLC.
Yeah.
Are they doing Mutant Mayhem stuff, or is it something else?
No, I think it's something else. I think it's like a different thing entirely.
Do you think they'll put them in Mortal Kombat 1?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I'm not gonna play that, but because it looks
it's gonna be a little bit too violent, and by a little I mean
violent.
a lot.
You're right.
To let you, even at 13, I don't think I'd be comfortable letting you play that. But
Yeah.
I
feel like I could play up to maybe
mean, 11's rough.
maybe Mortal Kombat 10.
I don't know.
I don't
I'd have to go back and
know.
look at it again. But anyway, did you know that Mortal Kombat 1 is going to have a lot of DLC for, like, more violent DC characters, and like Peacemaker is supposed to be in it, and then
Yes.
I think they're going to put are they putting the Boys characters in it? Maybe. I think I'd heard that. Or no, maybe Invincible. I think they're putting Invincible characters in it. So that's pretty cool. Or maybe it's just Omni-Man. But that's pretty cool. Anyway, we didn't actually answer the question, though. Do you have a favorite of those games? Is it maybe just Shredder's Revenge at this point, or?
No, it's
Oh, I know what it is. We've
Yeah.
talked about this recently. Go ahead.
yeah, it's what's it called?
You can't call it your favorite if you can't even remember the name of it.
Well,
So
it has like the most confusing name.
it's not your favorite, so we're not even going to bring it up.
Oh, okay.
We'll just move on.
It's the one that's not Turtles in Time.
It's the... Oh, see, no, I can't remember. I can't think of it either. It's not Manhattan Project.
No, that's 3.
That's NES. It is... It's the one on the Genesis.
Yeah.
Sorry, you throw me off, and now I can't think of it
Right.
either. And I was making fun of you for
Yeah.
it. Sorry, I just got Manhattan Project stuck in my head, and I can't think of that. But
Wait,
yeah,
that's what I do.
But yes, people always say that Turtles in Time... There are two big misnomers, in my opinion, about Turtles in Time, which is a wonderful Ninja Turtles game,
Yeah.
and it's a great beat-em-up, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think people go too far with it. Because people, even to this day, say Turtles in Time, God, that's going to drive me insane. We'll think of it. Turtles in Time is the best beat-em-up of all time. And I say I don't see how you could possibly put it above Streets of Rage 2. I think that's crazy talk.
That's...
And I think there's even other games...
Hyperstone Heist,
thank you, Hyperstone Heist. That was driving me crazy. I think you could... Okay, well, I retract my making fun of you because I couldn't do it either all of a sudden. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was just about to throw it at you, and then I didn't have it.
Yeah.
But that's the first misnomer, and in my mind. The second misnomer is that Turtles in Time is not just better than Hyperstone Heist, but, like, notches above it. It's the clear winner. No, it's not.
No, it's not. I think
they're both great.
I think Hyperstone Heist. I played that for the first time.
I think they're equal. I don't think Hyperstone Heist is better than Turtles in Time. I just think that they are absolutely on par with each other.
When the Ninja Turtles collection first came out, I played that. I played Hyperstone Heist for the first time, and I thought it was actually like, because I don't. Again,
that was John McClane that gave us that name, by the way. Thank you to him.
Again, I'm not the biggest beat 'em up guy. So, but I played it and it was just, I don't know, I really like the soundtrack, I really like the graphics, and, like, I don't know, I just, Genesis beat 'em ups are kind of, in my opinion, way better than SNES beat 'em ups.
So you actually do think it's better than Turtles in Time?
I do.
There's kind of a, I don't want to say necessarily grittier, but it's just, there's an atmosphere and a vibe to that it has for me, maybe just in personal interest over Turtles in Time. I like the variety of Turtles in Time and, you know, going through the different time periods and stuff, but I like the consistency in how it represents the franchise, I guess. The Hyperstone Heist. Like, I think it does an even better job of that than the original arcade game does. Yeah. And the other thing that's impressive with it is that, like, I feel like we gotta give it this, is Hyperstone Heist didn't have an arcade version. It wasn't a port.
Right.
And it still, to me, feels, even graphics and stuff, on par or at least really, really close.
Yeah.
And that's impressive. Because it doesn't have an arcade engine behind it.
Yeah. The thing is, I haven't played all the way through Hyperstone Heist, but I think Turtles in Time is just way too long.
Is Hyperstone Heist shorter?
I don't know.
It probably is, being on a cartridge.
It probably is, but
I gotta say, I don't know that I've seen the end of that game, and I have seen the end of Turtles in Time. But that's only because I own the arcade machine, and you could just keep putting quarters in, so you're not gonna lose if you want to see the end.
Turtles in Time, I don't know. It's just like, it's a neat gimmick. It's just a lot of I don't know. It's just kind of, to me, I just think, like, the bosses and stuff are just a little lame, but I don't know. I've also only played it, I've only played through it, like, twice.
Now, I don't agree with that, because I think it's kind of neat that you fight Bebop, and you fight Rocksteady, and then you fight them together.
Yeah.
Is that game, or is that the original arcade game?
That's the original arcade game.
Does it do that too, or
it does
them together?
That too.
Okay.
And I really like the original game.
But you get Baxter Stockman in Turtles in Time, and you don't.
Right.
And that's pretty cool.
And that's cool.
But I think Hyperstone Heist has Leatherhead, and...
Yeah.
Which one... Where is Metalhead?
Metalhead is...
Because I'm actually going to argue with myself. Whichever game has Metalhead is automatically makes it the better one.
I think
automatically.
Metalhead... I don't remember him in Turtles in Time.
He's somewhere. He's in one of those.
But I don't remember... Yeah, I don't understand Turtles in Time being the best beat 'em up though.
No, I don't either.
Because it's obviously Rise of Sin Tzu. No.
I would even put the arcade Punisher over it.
Yeah. Wow.
Just in terms of gameplay variety.
Yeah, I would definitely put Superman over it.
No. He's just saying things.
No, I do like Superman, but Turtles in Time is definitely.
Nicholas Bob, hey Cap, what stories would you recommend from the IDW run? In general, overall, I do recommend the whole first 100 issues. Particularly the first 50. I think it does get a little bit decompressed and spins its wheels a little bit too much in the back 50, but it's still overall a really good, solid 100-issue run from Tom Waltz. After that, stories there's an ongoing that's hit or miss called Ninja Turtles Universe that has some stories that are worth reading and some that are pretty superfluous. But one of the best Turtle stories in IDW is there, which I've talked about a million times and I won't ramble about here, but it is the two-part Metalhead story where it's one of my favorite stories in comics, actually, where Metalhead at first thinks he's Donatello and then starts to diverge and has his own personality, and it's a very much like an over-reliance on technology story, and it's a like artificial intelligence finding its own way and the potential, scariness of that, and it's a really good identity story, and it's a, I guess I am talking about this, but it's a really good kind of questioning nature of humanity story and nature nurture. If Donatello had gone more through what Metalhead did, would he have turned out to be kind of the awful, scary, unfortunate, tragic character that Metalhead turns out to be? It's great. And I know you're kind of laughing, but I don't know if you know the situation with that.
It's just because you love Metalhead so much.
Okay, so I do love, and I've always loved Metalhead. He was always my favorite supporting character in the '87 show. I always loved his design. He was my favorite action figure. I still have that. I have a lot of my Turtles toys. Not all of them, but I have a lot of my old Turtles toys. But I got very excited when a story that good was done with that character. You're absolutely right about that. But what was cool about it is it started off looking like a big gimmick. Death of Donatello. Oh, everybody's got to buy that issue and hike the price up, and exorbitantly. It was obnoxious. And it turned out, of course, that Donatello was not dead, but he was hanging on for dear life, and he got beaten to a bloody pulp by Rocksteady and Bebop when we first introduced them. And then his consciousness, so we'd already done a Metalhead story, and Metalhead did not have an artificial intelligence yet. He was just kind of a remote-controlled robot, kind of like we do with him initially in 2012. And the 2012 version is okay, but it doesn't hold a candle to IDW. And then Donatello's consciousness was transferred to Metalhead to save him, and then was put back in his body, but then that consciousness was duplicated in Metalhead, and then it transformed and became what it became. And he ends up wanting revenge on Donatello, basically because he's jealous of him. But that whole thing is great. So that is, in my mind, hands down the best of those stories. I'm biased. Jason is right about that. City Fall is wonderful. The arc right after that, the aftermath from City Fall, when they're in when they're on the farm, like in the Mirage comics and in the movie, that stuff is really good. Like I said, there's a lot of the spin-offs that are quite good. I don't know, I could go on and on, but I would, if you can get the library editions or read in that order in digital, I would really recommend that. There's a reading list, and it was published like this too, where you can start from the beginning, but then read everything in the order as it was published. And I would not recommend just reading the first 50 or the first 100 issues without the side stuff, because some of the side stuff is very important. Some of it isn't, and some of it's bad, but most of it's quite good. Like, you probably don't need the Bebop and Rocksteady minis. Like, there's fun stuff to be had there, but they're basically just going around wreaking havoc. There's a April and Casey mini that's just awful, which sucks because it's Rat King, and I love Rat King, but I don't love their Rat King.
Yeah.
That's one of the few missteps I think they made, actually, is I don't love their Rat King. He's this weird kind of godlike guy. He's part of their, what they call the Pantheon, and I'm not a big fan of the whole Pantheon thing.
Yeah. So I've actually never seen Ninja Turtles 3. Do you think I need to see that?
Well, no one needs to see Ninja Turtles 3.
It would be funny if I saw that.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Some people, it's sort of a Batman and Robin situation where some people just find it really hard to sit through, and some people think it's a so bad it's good kind of movie. If you watch that, watch it with your mom, because for some reason she enjoys it.
Oh, that's.
I don't want to sit through it again. Maybe it's worth watching just because you'll be so baffled that it was made the way it was.
Yeah.
And that you could fall so far when you got the animatronics as right as you did in the first movie. A different company takes over in 3, and it's like going from, like, Muppets to hand puppets. I mean, it's almost that bad. Well, in one case, it is a hand puppet, like, because Splinter is just a hand puppet.
In was that theatrically released?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so you get the first 2 movies back to back a year apart from each other. I don't know if you know that, but they rushed the second movie out.
Is the second movie 91?
91, and then 3 comes out in 93.
Okay.
Had a full 2 years in between.
And
you'd think your quality would improve, but no. And it was also just a product of a lot of unfortunate compromise. That movie was supposed to have actual villains from the cartoon show, and the time travel thing should have been more fun than it was, and yeah, so...
Yeah.
But even 2 was supposed to set up... Like, I think 3 was supposed to have Krang and stuff. 2 was supposed to set up Krang.
Okay.
And the big reveal, the big secret of the Ooze was supposed to be, I think, if memory serves, somebody tell me if I'm wrong about this, that because it's been a while, I'm rusty, but I think the idea was supposed to be that the Ooze was from Dimension X. That was the secret of the Ooze. And then ultimately the secret of the Ooze in the movie just turned out to be that there is Ooze.
Yeah, which... What?
But that movie did give us Super Shredder, and
yes.
There's very few things on Earth that are as great as the design of Super Shredder, because it's just amazing.
It's great.
I love Super Shredder. Super Shredder is one of those things, he's on screen for 45 seconds, but everybody remembered him.
Yeah.
He's got his cheese grater helmet.
Yep.
He's got his padded muscle chest.
Does he have a muscle chest?
Oh yeah.
My gosh. Look at all his muscles.
And then he does himself in an epic fashion.
Yep.
It's wonderful. The baby!
Oh no, not the Out of Their Shells tour. I tried to actually watch that and they got bored to tears.
How far did you get?
I got like an hour in.
Did you get to Skipping Stones?
No.
Did you get to John Splinter Mellencamp?
I got to the break where the guy from that one game show started like trying to like take people out of
yeah,
I got to that, and then
tell everybody about it, because we figured out who that was.
Yeah, he's the guy from the from the grocery store game show.
From the original Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the Coming Out of Their Shells tour, there's this news anchor guy.
Yeah.
In the middle, there's they have an intermission.
Yeah.
Intermission.
And I got to the intermission and then just turned it off because I couldn't even handle the intermission.
And he's the guy that just rambles incessantly and is really obnoxious and is like, I don't know how to be a hero! I've never even been out of my newsroom, you guys!
Yeah.
I, unfortunately, have spent too much time with the Coming Out of Their Shells tour because I did a very involved scripted review of that years ago. And so now I know it way too well.
That.
I thought way too much about the logistics of the story with that movie, and I think it might have broke me as much or more than Spawnium. You know, where like everything freezes on the stage, but there's an audience that's watching all of this, but they don't freeze.
Yeah.
You know, the POV is a real problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nicholas Bodo wants to know what our favorite version of Shredder is.
Batman Ninja Turtles.
That's my favorite visual design at this point, I have to say. That's not my favorite characterization, certainly.
Yeah. I think you would probably say, like, I don't know what you would say.
It's hard now. It's like a four-way split. Like,
and I do like 03 a lot.
This was all easier to do like 10 years ago or 12 years ago. Before IDW, Ninja Turtles was so cut and dry for me.
Yeah.
And now there's been a lot of... I mean, it's a good problem to have. You know, there's been a lot more great iterations, and my favorite version now came in adulthood, you know, like well into adulthood, because IDW is such a wonderful blend of everything.
Yeah.
And does really cool, dramatic stuff with all of the 87 toys. You know, takes them all out of the toy box and then makes them set pieces and backdrops for really compelling stories.
Yeah.
But so the Shredder there, I like a lot. I was won over very early on a thing I thought I was going to hate, which was the Turtles being humans in a previous life. That was such a weird idea, and I didn't think I liked it. And then it totally worked. And then Shredder ultimately being immortal, or at least like centuries old because of ooze and all of that. Like all of that ended up working really well. But yeah, I think so. Like that's in there now. Ushram Shredder is really cool.
Yeah.
With 03.
Yeah.
Combining Krang and Shredder into one character was kind of a stroke of genius.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But of course, I love him in the 1990 movie.
The 1990 movie is great. And the original 03 Shredder, that's, like, I do like the design with that, but,
Yeah, AMC says the visual design has to be 03, but 2012 is probably a more straightforward characterization. That's true. I mean, 2012 is a lot closer to the Mirage comics, and that's because that show was Peter Laird's baby, so you had, was Eastman's baby, so you had Laird doing the 03 show, and so it's a lot weirder. And they have Eastman working on the 2012 show, and so it's a bit more straightforward.
Okay.
And it really kind of just depends on which of those guys' sensibilities is more in line with your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, where else should we go?
Where else should we go here?
With this, we've actually talked about quite a bit.
We have.
What are your feelings on the new movie? Are you cautiously optimistic, or?
The first trailer I didn't even really want to see it, but as more trailers,
the designs and stuff.
Yeah, as more trailers have come out, I've kind of more and more wanted to see it just because of the people working on it and stuff. I just think that's such a weird cast.
Oh, it's a crazy cast.
It's a really weird cast. So I don't know. I'm excited for it, and yeah, also kind of nervous for it.
So my prediction is it won't really be my thing, but I will respect it.
Yeah.
You know, the way Rogan's approaching that, it looks like, unlike with 2014, of course, and Out of the Shadows, it looks like it's made by people that like the property.
Yeah.
That maybe just have real different sensibilities than me. Like, it's very modernized in a way that I don't think is going to be my cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll win me over, and it'll be, more accessible than it looks to me.
Hopefully the art will win me over. My big thing is just the art. I can't really do with it.
It's another one of those things where I'm not in love with the models, but the animation looks well done.
Yeah, it looks well done. It's just weird.
People are talking about how cool it is that it looks gritty, it looks comic book, and I'm like, yeah, there's just something about the sensibility of it that I'm not real into. Like if we have to go that stylized, why can't it look more Eastman and Laird?
Right.
Why can't we go? It doesn't necessarily have to be black and white, but
right.
So it's cool that it looks drawn. I just wish, finally we get a Ninja Turtles that's doing that, and it's not going, back to the roots the way I was kind of hoping maybe something like that would.
Yeah.
It's just a taste thing. It might be, maybe ultimately I'll really like it. But it's fun that it isn't just nostalgia baiting like the 2014 movie did.
Yeah.
Where it's not like Star Trek '09, where it's throwing like the 5 things at you that you know by cultural osmosis, even if you've never seen Ninja Turtles. Like, they're doing deep pull stuff. They're going to Mondo Gecko. I love Mondo Gecko.
Yeah.
Like, that's exciting. They're doing Mutanimal stuff. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I could see a Mutanimal spin-off from this. I never thought I'd say that. There's characters there that I never thought I'd see in anything.
Yeah.
Or certainly that I didn't think you'd see on the big screen, I should say. Not anything. IDW's done almost everybody.
Yeah.
But like, that's cool. You're actually going to get a fly Baxter Stockman again. We haven't had that in forever.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Besides Batman Ninja Turtles, even IDW avoided it forever.
Really?
I don't know if they finally got there, but... Not that it has to be a fly. It's just sort of weird that they were doing so much 87 stuff that they didn't get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited about seeing all of that 87 stuff done in a movie that is certainly more sophisticated and serious than that, but is still like somewhere in between a really serious like Mirage or IDW thing and a silly kitty 87 thing.
Yeah.
So like, it should be more accessible in that way. It does look like a thing that is kind of for adults and kids at the same time.
Yeah.
And I like that. And it's certainly toyetic enough, even if I'm not a big fan of the designs.
Yeah.
The Playmates figures look really good.
Do they?
Have you seen them?
No, I haven't.
Playmates has the same kind of initiative they did for 2012, man. Like, they've got figures for everything. It's just a movie, but there's so much stuff. They've got this neat 4-pack where it's the 4 turtles, but each in a costume from a different period or fantastic adventure kind of thing. So, like, one of them is a spaceman, and one of them is a cowboy, and then one of them is, I think it's Leonardo, or maybe it's Donatello. One of them is Spock.
Oh.
Because you remember they did the Star Trek toys?
Yeah.
So Playmates had the Ninja Turtles Star Trek mashup toys.
Yeah.
And they got the Star Trek license back like a year ago.
Cool.
And they're already doing that. They did that mashup again, and they put it in a box with 3 other unrelated things. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it does sort of suck that you have to buy the other 3 to get the Spock if you want that. I'm hoping maybe we'll get lucky that down the line they'll just do reproductions of the 87 show characters as Star Trek characters. I hope they do that.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing a lot of reproductions. Jeff Gearhart, do you prefer animation or live action? I mean, I love the 90 movie, but then live action has not been real good after that. So by default, I have to say animation just because we've done it better that way more often.
Yeah.
And I don't have, and the 2014 and 2016 movies were not good. So, and also were barely live action.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you couldn't maybe do CG Turtles and make me buy into the live action, but they didn't really.
Yeah.
Some of it was just that they were too big too. It's not even that the CG's bad. It's just that I'm not even buying these are ninjas. I'm not even buying that they're stealthy. That was really more of the problem with it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm conflicted because I want to say because the 90 movie was so good, if we do live action again, could we please just do animatronics? But then I'm not actually expecting anybody to do it like that. So I'm just not clamoring for live action again. I don't need that.
Yeah.
What I've always said I'd like to see, though, is, and I guess I'm contradicting myself when I say this, but do a blend. If you got to do live action, do the Sin City thing. Do a blend where all the human characters are live action, but everything else is a cartoon. Everything else is animated.
Yeah.
And have just really super stylized backdrops and everything.
Yeah.
Shoot the whole thing on green screen and do it like Sin City.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work.
I know I'm contradicting myself, but I don't want the turtles themselves to be even like looking live action in that, even attempting to make them that way. Do it like Roger Rabbit, have like your human characters look like real life people, have them played by real life people.
Yeah.
This is not new. I have pitched this before. Nicholas Bodo, favorite Turtles villains aside from Shredder. What are yours? Because I know you don't know the cast as well as I do, but the cast of characters.
I don't.
By the way, if I'm talking a lot more than Jason this time, it's because
I don't know anything about Ninja Turtles.
He didn't want to talk about this, but he prefaced it before we started with me with, okay, Dad, I don't have a ton to say about this.
Yeah,
Well, we got to get you to look at more Ninja Turtle stuff then. For me, it's Rat King, it's Metalhead, it's Slash. Love Slash.
I was trying to think of Slash. AMC, have either of you played the Turtles Smash Bros. Clone on the Wii? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
I had this stupid obsession for a minute with getting a disc for that game that works.
Yep.
Because I had gotten one at one point that was scratched up and didn't work, and I didn't realize it until after I couldn't go back and get my money back for it, because it's one of those games that I bought and I forgot to test it, and I just didn't play it. And then I finally tried it out, and I was like, oh wait, the scratched up doesn't work. And then I bought one online, same thing happened. And so it took me like 2 years before I got one. And then I finally played it again, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not very good.
Yeah.
That was based on the 07 models. The TMNT movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, Code Anime fan, I love Krang too.
Yeah, Krang's great.
How much of... You've seen some Next Mutation, have you not?
Yeah.
How painful is that?
It's pretty painful. It's not very good. And it has some of the worst action scenes. Because no one's doing anything.
One of the best examples, one of the best ways to prove that all things are relative is to show someone who thinks that Power Rangers is too campy and the writing is too bad to be appreciated by anyone. An episode of any of Power Rangers at all.
Yeah.
And then show them an episode of Next Mutation.
Yeah.
Particularly a show that was on around the same time.
Right.
Because just choreography alone, it's night and day.
And I'm so glad they made a crossover so that you can see that, yeah, you can make good action scenes with those characters.
Yeah. If you watch a Next Mutation episode...
Yeah.
Like watch the Next Mutation episode that happens right before the In Space episode.
Yeah.
Where they cross over.
Yeah.
And you can... The competence jumps by 10 times.
Yeah.
In the TV making. It's crazy.
Yeah.
AMC, super specific question. Do you each prefer the Foot Clan as robots or human ninjas?
Robots, because I like 03, but...
03, they weren't robots.
03, they weren't robots.
Huh. No, that's the 87 thing.
Is that 87?
And that's so that... That's to get around standards and practices. That's to get around censorship.
Because of censorship.
So that the Turtles are actually able to fight something with their weapons.
So
they can break apart robots, but they can't fight people. And in 03, they're actual ninjas again. And then there's different versions
and they're ninjas
where...
in the 90 movie, too. Yes. Well,
yeah. Yeah, of course. But then later on, sometimes we'll make them robots again, and we'll do kind of a blend.
I will say human ninjas then, but
Yeah, definitely for me too, just because you want to have the feudal Japan stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of more interesting if it's a kind of cult that's been around for a real long time and is still sucking people into it.
Yeah.
I always like the recruitment thing with the foot. And I always really like the way that's handled in the 90s movie with the family motif.
Mm.
The idea of these wayward youth that stray away from their families and they're looking for their own family.
Yeah.
And somebody picks them up off the street and takes advantage of them. I always like that angle a lot. That movie is about more than people gave it credit for at the time. I'm not saying it's a super deep story or anything, but the way it handles, youth gang violence and stuff is, I don't know, is like shockingly actually kind of about something.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's all the questions it looks like, and we're already at about an hour somehow. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So it looks like I just need to show you more Ninja Turtle stuff.
No, yeah, you do. That's kind of your fault, but
is it? Well, you latch on to what you latch on to.
Yeah.
And you could have gone off and looked at more yourself, like you did with Power Rangers. It's back here. I have stuff.
That's true.
I should mention for anybody that hasn't heard yet that the 03 series is getting a box set this year, which is exciting. I think that's about to come out in the next couple of months, maybe.
Very excited about that.
And so if you are not subscribed to Paramount Plus, you'll be able to buy it, and it's only going to be $60, I think, for the whole show, which is pretty good. And I think, but you can also watch that on Paramount Plus. And then the 2012 show, I don't think has a complete box set yet.
Okay. You can still watch that on Netflix, though, right?
I think...
Has that not been taken off? Because that's been there forever.
Maybe that's also on Paramount Plus. I can't remember. And for a while, Netflix had a season or two, but not all of it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how you stream that now.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that whole show. I've never seen all of 03 either. I've only seen a lot of it.
Episodes of 2012.
Busted Sim, Jayson is in the blame dad part of teenagerdom. No, that's fair. I mean, I still say you could have run off and looked at more. I think the issue with this is I showed you a lot of Turtle stuff when you were younger.
Yeah.
But then you latched on to other things, and as you got older, I didn't reinforce any of it.
Right. And at that point, I just didn't really...
I gotta get you to blow through some IDW. Because I really feel like that's the thing that will most engage you, probably. I think you'll probably really like some of the original characters in that too, like Alopex, and I think you'll like what they do with the Mutanimals and Old Hob and all of that stuff. Do you remember, speaking of looking at Turtle stuff when you were younger, I think at one point you even, a few years ago, read some of the early Mirage stuff, but I don't know if you remember doing that.
I wanted to. I remember wanting to, but I don't think I ever have.
Well, I'll have you do that first before you look at IDW, because you'll appreciate the kind of reimagining thing happening with that, with some of the things that are specifically taken from the early Mirage comics and reinvented.
Yeah.
But I think you'll like especially some of the one-shots, especially some of the micro-series.
Mm-hmm.
Because a couple of those are classic. In fact, we haven't done this yet, we were talking about doing a video where we each hand each other comics. You were going to hand me some manga.
Yeah.
I will just reveal to you right now that my plan for that, when we were going to give each other single issues, I was going to give you a Mirage Ninja Turtles.
Ah, okay. Cool. We should do that soon, then.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to give you one of the classic micro-series.
Ah, okay, cool.
Issues.
See, and I'm definitely going to give you something way more modern, but...
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, Dimwit Monkey says that box set's already out.
Ah, okay.
Gearhart, what is on the docket for the rest of the week? Well, tomorrow night for the request, Austin and I are... And I need to start reading this. I haven't even gotten into it yet. But we're supposed to do, speaking of IDW, the 12-issue maxi series for... what is that called? What is that video game series?
What video game?
Sorry, help me out. Solid's name.
Oh.
Metal Gear Solid.
I just wasn't even going to give it to you.
Metal Gear Solid we have to do.
I was going to wait for you to...
And then I don't know. I
You
feel
have
like
to play it, or you have to.
we have to read a comic based on it.
Comic based on it.
Yeah.
Huh. I
That's
didn't even know they
that's
did.
what somebody requested.
Did someone request that?
Yes.
Well, you should probably play one of the games.
I don't know. He said
I don't know.
you can just read this without playing the games, and
I haven't played any of the games. I want.
That's what we do for request is a comic, movie, or TV show. So, and then Thursday night is Captain Logan show, and Friday night Austin is out, so Jason and I are going to do a mini marathon, probably for Star Trek. People have been asking for more Star Trek content, and we're talking about letting Jason pick some episodes.
Yeah.
So that may be what we're doing on Friday. That is likely what we're doing on Friday. We're kicking around some things, but that's probably what we're doing.
Yeah. Unless you want to do that comic thing Friday, but...
Dimwit Monkey, bare bones release, but that's okay. I think the point was just to make the series more available. Yeah, it would have been nice to get some special features, but as long as the transfers are good, I'm not going to complain. And also just for the sake of collectability, I'd like to have that back here, so...
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And, Jason, I didn't mean to dominate too much.
I didn't have anything else to say, so... I would have talked about it for, maybe 20 minutes and then just ended.
Well, and of course, there's a lot of things that we could have covered that we didn't get to. We could have talked more about toys and stuff.
Yeah, Turtles Forever.
Oh yeah, Turtles Forever.
I love that.
You know that. We didn't even talk about some of the stuff you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did, but some of the stuff.
I'm just saying some of the stuff you know we didn't even talk about. All right, well, folks, once again, thanks for being here. I was Captain Logan, and this was, of course, Jason. We will do another one of these likely very soon. Bye, everybody.
Yes.